Hello, I'm John Rhys Davis, and I am privileged to tell you that you are listening to the Regular Joe's 500th episode podcast. Oh, is there a treat in for you?
To movies and toys and TV shows, comics and collecting and superheroes. There's no end to the useless stuff they know. But don't call them geeks, they're just regular Joes.
Welcome to the 500th episode of the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
I'm Todd Pleasant.
And I'm Brian Mix.
We are at Rhode Island Comic Con, night one, day one.
Whoopee!
Very different than we normally are. Barry is remote on a telephone, on a cell phone, and then Brian and Todd and I are in our room at the lovely Graduate Hotel. Not the Omni. We'll be there tomorrow, but that's a whole long story. So,
and are you enjoying your hotel so far? Is it nice?
The hotel is nice.
It's actually very nice.
We walked into the room this first thing this afternoon. It was 94 degrees because they use old-fashioned radiator heat here, and they had left the fan on. It just kept heating the room and heating the room and heating the room. So
yeah, it was a little ridiculous.
Yeah, we found a desiccated corpse in the bathroom.
Yeah,
no charge for the sauna.
Yeah, so
I hope you had no chocolate with you because it would have all.
We
melted.
did have chocolate with us,
and it did melt.
I got here after they did, and I texted them. I said I'm sitting here eating melted Kit Kats. What are you guys doing? So
we've had the windows open because it's 35 degrees outside and slowly cooling the room.
Yeah,
We're
they turned the fan off.
We're down to 74 now.
Engineering.
It has a lot of character. Let's just say
no,
that.
it's nice.
Okay.
It's big. It's like almost twice the size of
Easily
a regular room. So it's sizable compared to the Omni room. So it's good.
Well, and in this case, it sounds like size matters. So good.
Yeah.
Yes, it does
definitely.
matter. So, okay, so, as we do every year, a little recap of the first day. Brian and I came together. We drove up through the back roads of freaking Connecticut. I don't know why.
Thank you, Siri.
Yeah, it was very bizarre. But anyway, so we got here, checked in around 3:15. And then what did we do? We decided to what did we do first? We decided to sort of figure out the room. Then we went over to the convention center, figuring the thing we need to get done and out of the way is the poster autographs, which were your two posters and I had a poster. So we didn't have to carry that stuff around.
When he says you, he means Barry.
Barry
Yes.
had two posters he wanted us to sign, so wanted us to get signed for him. So we're more than happy to do that. Who did we go see first? What did we do?
Blade Runner was first.
Yeah, so we went to, first of all, no issue getting into the show. So show opens at 3 o'clock. We were there at little before 4, walked right in. If you guys remember, Todd and Barry remember that one time we stayed at the other hotel, it was like a 4-hour line outside.
Oh yeah, we were lined up down the block under a bridge, with the trolls under the under the bridge. It was.
Oh my
crazy.
God, I'd forgotten about that
Yeah.
year. Oh, that's right.
But I was saying to Brian, I do give this show credit in that if there's a better way to do something one year after something not right the other year, they fix it. I've never seen that again, right? We've never seen that line again.
No, we only ever saw that one time.
Yeah.
And that was our second year here, right? Was it? I think it was our second year. Yeah.
I think it was the second year.
Yeah.
And that was bad.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
But this year, I mean, granted, once we got into the show, it was fairly empty for a Friday.
Really surprising how few people were
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Pretty empty.
Wow, that's odd because Friday afternoon is usually pretty hot.
I mean, I don't want to say empty, but there were people doing things, but not nearly as crowded. We literally, so instead of, and every year there's a different way to enter. There's sort of, sometimes you can enter through that sort of round round part of the building right across from the Omni. That was closed. We just, Brian and I are walking down, and we walking, the convention center's big, and there's some doors, and you see metal detectors in, and there's nobody there. And can we come in here? Yeah. And they're like, yeah, come on in. So we went right in, and we were right there.
That's the same way. When I got here at 4:30, it was exactly the same thing.
Yeah, it was great.
We didn't need to go down to that entrance. This is fascinating for people who haven't been here, but screw all you. The main entrance that we've gone to other times, where you go into the Duncan Center or whatever the hell.
Oh, where you kind of have to go up the stairs to that.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah,
we didn't go anywhere near there.
Yeah, it's now the Amica Center. Anyway, so we go in, and knowing we just wanted to sort of crank out the autographs to get rid of the posters, so we went up to the autograph room. That's sort of on top of the that part of the show floor. And they moved the photo area up there too. So,
okay. So it's not on the main show floor anymore.
And I got to say, last year it was on the main show floor towards the back, towards the genie bottle, for reference. Opposite of the tattoos. So you know where that is, right, Barry?
Yeah.
Todd doesn't.
I did not find the tattoos. I was given the tattoos as a point of reference. I did not find it, and I made a lap, didn't see the tattoos.
You know where the tattoos? They're at the other end.
Tattoos are in the front, all the way in the front.
See, he said the front. You claimed Barry's thought that was the back.
We had this conversation last year.
Okay. Anyway. So
the back is where they had the photo ops in the past.
There you go.
And the autographs.
Yeah. The photo ops were kind of in the way last year, I would say. There were a lot
not only that, all the guests that were participating had to come down from the third floor.
Exactly, yes. Yep.
And it probably took them a lot more time than if they just put it up where most of the celebrities are.
Yes.
And they figured that out this year.
Yeah, so the photo ops are in half of that room upstairs. There's still celebrities at the back of the main room, and then there were celebrities in the other half of that room upstairs. Anyway, so who was up there? Edward James Olmos was there. Sharon Doherty was there. She wasn't there when we got there. And we're like, all right, we have 3 posters. Let's crank them out. So Brian and I went online for Edward James Olmos. I had wanted to have my Blade Runner poster signed.
He was fantastic.
Yeah.
He was. Dave barely got out. There's one phrase, because we were talking online, what should we get him to say? And Dave's like, there's one phrase we want you to write. And he's like, oh, I know it. I'll write it. He didn't even ask what the phrase was.
Yeah,
from Blade Runner that he wanted to
it's
write.
a shame she won't live, but then again, who does? Live forever, whatever.
And he
wrote. It's a good thing he didn't write "So Say We All" on there, because that
No, there's
totally
it's a Blade Runner thing.
Yeah, it was awesome. He even wrote it out. Too bad she won't live. ... But then again ... Who does ? ... exclamation mark. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that was awesome, and we were talking. We're like, how was filming the movie? He's like, it was very tough, but Ridley's a genius. He and Harrison Ford didn't really get along, but they're both creative guys. Blah blah blah. And he said he had brought in. I guess Todd, you had read that he had brought in the ideas of like the mishmash Asian language and the origami and stuff. Which I thought was pretty cool. I didn't really recall that.
He said the stick figure in the movie of the man he made, and he said he also did a chicken, but for the insert shot they used a different chicken, not his.
And he didn't. And the prop guy made the unicorn. And I asked him, like, when you guys were filming the movie, did anyone know or talk about Deckard being a replicant? And he said no one knew that at all. And he's like, they didn't really figure that out until well after the movie was done, and even probably another edit, I guess. So that was definitely not something that was, even thought about in the movie. It was a great sort of
cool
afterthought.
I met him years ago at an event at the UN, and it was a Battlestar Galactica event, and he was really cool that night too. So I'm glad you had a good experience with him.
Yeah, he was talking to people. I mean, there weren't a ton at the time of people in front of us, but he was taking a good 10 minutes to talk to everybody. So that was cool.
There was a Cylon in front of us, and I mean there was a old school Battlestar Galactica Cylon in full costume in front of us. to get something signed by him.
Yeah, that was pretty
Wow.
funny. Yeah.
Did you get a picture of that? Text me it if you did.
No, we didn't.
We probably should have done
We
that, huh?
should have got
Yeah.
it. And he's literally talking to Edward, and he's got the noise from the eye going on, and he's trying to tilt his head and lean in and trying to hear what the guy, like, dude.
Take the helmet off, dude.
You know, so that was cool. So then Shrine and Doherty was a couple booths down. She showed up. She had a pretty good line.
Really long line.
Yeah, and they like, oh, her line is capped because there just wasn't, not because she was only signing so much, but there's just not a lot of room to snake like a 50-person, 100-person line, so they were capping it. So we decided to go downstairs to the main showroom to see who was there. And this is interesting, and I don't know if, we've talked about you wanting a genie bottle. Now, Barbara Eden's here, you wanting a genie bottle for your wife. So there is a massive 20-foot-tall genie bottle in the corner of the room in that back end where the autographs are.
Which I felt was a much more obvious landmark to meet somebody at than a tattoo place.
But
anyways.
the tattoo thing is something that has been there for 10 years.
Still haven't seen it.
And you would have...
The genie bottle
noticed
has a full interior. And
Oh,
it's
it does?
It
Does
does.
it?
It's a photo op.
Oh, I didn't realize it had a
Yeah,
full
if
interior.
you have to walk around to the inside, it's got a
that's
full
awesome.
genie interior
Oh,
photo op.
wow.
I would...
You really can't miss
wait,
it, unlike the tattoo parlor. But
Can
anyways.
you get your picture with Barbara Eden in the genie
I
bottle?
don't know. It said
I
genie
would
bottle experience.
pay
but
for that.
I bet. I bet
you
there's a
probably
number.
will.
I bet there's a number where you can do that.
I will do that, even though she's...
Now, is that genie bottle? Is that the genie bottle guy?
Okay, so the interesting thing is, and maybe we've mentioned on the show, so Barbara Eden, any show she would went to, and we've met her here, I had a genie bottle signed, and I met her somewhere else, and I had
Schiller, I think.
This guy, somebody Della Casa, Mario Della Casa makes
Mario. He called me last year.
Yeah, makes these genie bottles out of like ceramic and metal, and they're $300 and higher. First of all, Barbara Eden wasn't there yet, so it's her booth, then a booth with someone selling genie bottles, but it is not that dude. It's a woman selling 3D printed, painted genie bottles that look like toys.
Ooh.
So maybe she had a falling out with that nutbag.
I can't imagine why. He's so reasonable and calm and collected.
Yeah, because when I had bought one years ago, and I showed it to him. He's like, I'll sign the bottom, and it's now going to be worth $10,000. Like, Mario Della Casa, I'm sorry, no one knows who the hell you are.
You sign that bottle, Mario, the value goes down.
Yeah, well, I did let him sign it, but even though he did, what was that show? He made that skin flute.
Well, I believe it was the HR Puffin Stuff flute, not a skin flute, but maybe it was made of human skin. I don't know.
He made one of those too. It was always about something about the flute. Anyway,
So he's not there.
He's not there. And literally, these are. I have a picture. I'll send you a picture. They are crappy looking bottles for $100 that this woman's 3D printing and painting. And she is in the same booth as her. So Barbara Eden, I guess, is partnered up with her.
Oh yeah, I saw a price. I think it said full set of genie bottles, however many colors there are, autographed by her, were $1,000.
But they don't look anything
I
like.
wonder if she just wanted somebody that was selling less expensive bottles, because his genie bottles are very expensive.
I'm going to go up and say, "Where's Mario?"
Yeah, you do that.
I think
that
you should.
after the
we told
bottle
the story.
experience.
I came to this show looking for Mario.
Well, Barry would have, to be honest
Yeah,
with
I mean,
you.
look, I told this story on the podcast last year, but I wanted to get a bottle for my wife. We were going to go to Chiller. He was going to be there. So I asked him, are you going to have this specific version of your bottle? Because he makes all these different bottles. And he was like, I already shipped my stuff to the show. I'm like, I'm telling you, you're going to make a $300-something sale if you bring this bottle. And he's like, I'll just mail order it to you. I'm like, my wife kind of wants to be able to see it before we buy it. Just bring one. Nope, can't do that.
And get Barbara Eden to sign it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know, but we'll see. So anyway, so we go down there. Barbara Eden, I didn't know that Genie Bottle had an interior. That's actually cool. So some of the Star Trek people were there. Who was there?
LeVar Burton, Brent Spiner,
Walter Koenig, Gates McFadden.
We're in a new hotel, and while Dave is checking in, Brett Spiner walks right past me to the coffee shop. It's like, oh, this is
So
gonna be a
he's
good hotel.
staying here.
Yeah, he's staying
next
here.
door.
Yeah.
Hold it down, Brent.
So the Star Trek signers are on the main floor in the back, not in the upstairs area.
They were today.
That is.
Okay.
You know, they move stuff around.
Yeah,
Not
they
every
do
like
tend to do
Anson
that.
Mount wasn't there. I wonder if he's at the auditorium.
All the next gen people were together, but the
they always are.
he might be separate.
Yeah, and I saw, it's funny being home and not being there, which I'm very sad I'm not there, as you guys know, but being home, scrolling Facebook today, the show was doing a really good job of posting on social media.
Oh, really?
What was going on, and there was an Anson mounted panel. I don't know
Oh.
if you guys
Oh, we
watched
may have
that,
walked
but-
right by it. There was a lot of people
Yeah,
in
there
the
were.
panel room in the
Yep.
Omni when we were leaving.
Yeah, and sometime this evening there was an Anson Mount panel. So
We probably should look at the schedule, huh?
We never have gone to a panel once since we've been
Yeah,
here.
we did. We went to Shatner.
yeah, we did.
Oh,
went
we
to
did the Shatner.
Yep.
Okay, we've been to one panel in the 10 years we've been here.
Yeah.
So then we're looking to see where Harry Hamlin is, and he's in the corner of that room. And I'm like, gotta crank out the Harry Hamlin autograph for Barry. And he didn't have much of a line. He actually looked really good. I mean, I think his hair was darker. I thought he'd look older than he does, but he was great, right?
He was cool. He was telling us stories about driving Porsches on Sunset
Well, yeah,
Boulevard.
because I roll out your poster and then I apologize to him. I'm sorry there's so many instructions here on the little sticky.
It's like a math test.
Yeah. And he's like, who's this douchebag that has you signing this? No. He's like, that's fine. He's like, he's reading it. He says, okay, sign big, sign here. I don't know if you specified the color.
Character name.
Character name. And he's like, okay, I can do that. He signs big. And I said to him, I didn't even know. I don't remember anything from class. I said, you know what movie I really like? King of the Mountain. So King of the Mountain was this crappy movie he did in the 70s, 80s, early 80s. But I liked it because he drove this Porsche Speedster, this like 58 Porsche Speedster. It's like, oh yeah, that was a fun movie to make. And it was like guerrilla filmmaking. Dennis Hopper was in it. And he was a weirdo. And we had two of those cars and he burnt the engine out on one. And it was, that's the one with Deborah von Valkenburg or
Yes,
whatever.
yep.
I actually got a kick out of that movie. I watched it a bunch of times on cable. So we were talking about that a little, but he was great. And then for his $60, I think is what he charged, you get a selfie
For free.
for free. So some people are like $50 autograph, $50 selfie. If you want both, it's $100. He was like, or $80 or whatever. His was like, if you want a selfie. So that's when I sent you the picture. Brian and I held up the poster. He even said, "Oh, wait a second, let me take this fucking douchebag sticky off."
I was trying to make it so easy for you that you wouldn't have to question what I wanted.
Of course, I'm joking, but he did say, "Let me take the sticky off so you can get a better picture," and he did, and we took the picture and he sent it to you. So that was great. That was a good experience.
Well, and I've got to say, you guys have now officially raised the bar. That is how you get an autograph for a friend. You get it done, and you get a picture of the guy holding it. That's it.
You
guys
gotta
raised the bar.
thank him because we weren't going to pay the extra money for the selfie because other people weren't letting that happen.
I now have a higher expectation of anything else you might ever get for me at a show.
Well,
Okay, well, Shannon Doherty comes next.
yeah. So what did we do then?
Wow.
Then we walked around a bit and did we see? Oh, I got Walter Koenig. He was there. He had no line. I wanted to get him. We were talking to him a bit.
He was great.
Yeah. They were talking to him about Battlestar 5 or whatever.
Babylon
5.
Brian didn't kidnap him and put him in his suitcase?
No.
No.
I thought Brian might want to take him home.
But he was nice. He was talking. He's still pretty spry for,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
with it for, he's in his whatever he is.
How was his autograph? Is it still
It's a
little
little,
shaky, right?
little bit. We invited
the
him.
last time I got him, it was a little shaky.
We invited him to come record tomorrow. We're talking about. He was asking like, "What do you guys do?" And we're like, "Oh," and we're like, about to answer our jobs, and then we're like, "Oh, we do a podcast, and we've been doing, and we're going to do our 500th episode." And Todd had a flyer. We gave him a flyer, so maybe he'll show up, maybe he won't. Who knows? But he was cool, and I got his autograph. So I hadn't had it, And then we went back. So I went back to Shannon Doherty like 3 times, and they always are telling me the line is capped.
So
the line is
So
capped.
we go up to the last time, and there's like 5 people in line and 3 guards at the end. It's like, I'm like, oh, that's capped. They're closing the line. Dave's not going to get in. So Dave talks himself into the line. He charms these 3 ladies into letting him back into the line.
I didn't say I said, these are not the droids you're looking for. And
Did you wave the hand? Just
she said, come back at 7. And I'm like, I'm not going to be here at 7. And I come back 3 times. She's like, okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
It wasn't that really. Thank you for making it sound like it was something, but it wasn't.
Oh, you talked your way in. I thought I saw those 3 people and went, oh, he's doomed.
But
he's
meanwhile,
never getting in.
she had a photo op in 15 minutes. It's 2 seconds away, and she was done with autographs by within 5 minutes. It was fine.
Listen, we all know Dave's a charmer, so
Yeah.
So I was not there for the Shannon Doherty experience. How was that?
But I will say this. I got to say, first of all, we know she's ill. God bless her. She's got cancer and everything. When I was at one of the other times, there were a couple people in wheelchairs online wanting to get her order. She came from out of the table, was talking to them and hugging them and thanking them for waiting and all this stuff. So, and was very energetic and everything. I mean, honestly, she's a little pale and stuff, but I was surprised how energetic and really, she was acting. So good for her. I mean,
we wish her well.
I mean, yes. I hate to say it, but that's kind of why I normally, as you know, I prefer to meet these people in person, and I wouldn't have asked you to get it, but I don't know if she's ever going to do another show. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. So I got online and I asked Throat Roller to post, and she's like, "What douchebag put this sticker on?" No, so
and we have an episode title.
Yeah, and I honestly, I've never seen the movie. I don't know her character name. I don't know anything about it. But she read the instructions. She wrote big in silver. She put her character name, which is, Barry, do you know what it is?
Renee.
I don't know. She was nice and very thankful of her fans and super energetic about me and everyone, and God bless her. So that was good.
Yeah, I would have actually loved to have met her in person, but I appreciate you getting that for me, because that Mallrats poster has been all over the world. Not all over the world, but all over the country.
All over the tri-state area.
All over the tri-state area, and it's only missing like one main character now from being complete. And that's
unfortunately,
a pretty big ensemble cast. So.
That guy is literally working in a 7-Eleven, and you can't get him.
It's actually Claire Forlani, and I don't think she's acting anymore. But
she's been in stuff.
She was in a bunch of stuff. She was in The Rock.
The Rock?
Yeah, she played Sean Connery's daughter in The Rock.
Oh, she's cute. Okay. Did not know that.
Yeah, that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
The whole Rat Pack is here, so it's not Rat Pack, Brat Pack.
Brat Pack.
Is
Yeah,
I
the
think
whole Rat Pack is
except,
dead, but the Brat Pack is here.
Yep.
Amelia's not there. Yeah, we saw Judd Nelson, and we saw
Ellie Sheedy.
I didn't see her. She wasn't there when you. Molly Ringwald wasn't there.
But will be. There's a
And who's the guy? Michael Patrick Flannery or
Anthony Michael Hall.
That guy.
Anthony Michael
He's
Hall.
actually he's been in a lot of stuff. He's good.
Yeah.
So who else did we see that
He's
we were?
great. He's been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah, we didn't get over to the arena part. So
That's where they have the bigger.
probably.
I mean, are there bigger guests?
Well, Evangeline, your girlfriend Evangeline Lilly, and Marissa Tomei,
Carl
and
Weathers will be
that's
there.
right.
Carl
Okay.
Weathers. There's a lot of people still. Like, we didn't see Katrina Law. I thought she would have been on this side, but she could be a Saturday only person, maybe. I don't know, but we'll see.
I mean, the guest list was absolutely huge. I can't imagine they have everybody in that main third floor. I mean, if they've got them, they've got people on the first floor, and then they've got them in the Duncan Center or whatever it's called.
Amika something.
There's also a number of people that were on the list that said Saturday only or Saturday and Sunday.
They may
and
shift stuff.
so it's, arrivals and whatnot.
Oh, and Anthony Daniels is on that same floor in a ballroom all on his own.
Yeah,
like
as he
when we
likes
saw
to
him.
be.
Yeah. So good for him. Carrie Elways, like, I've seen him before. He has his table, and then he has a curtained off area, and you have to go into the curtained off area to get his autograph.
Really?
I've seen he did that when I was at whatever the convention is in Washington. which is interesting because I guess he wants to have his own little experience. Remember how Fonzie was? Fonzie came in front of the table, greeted everyone, talked to everyone online, and then invited you in to talk. So everyone's got their own little angle. So that's cool.
So I'm looking on the website now. Ali Sheedy says Saturday and Sunday only. So
maybe you didn't see Ali Sheedy.
No, there was.
Maybe
she
I
didn't even
see
have.
her.
There was anything out on her table, so they were just using her table as overflow for Judd Nelson.
That's what
so
I saw then. Okay.
you saw things, but it was overflow from the booth next to it.
Okay.
But I would say the biggest line of the places, I think Shannon Doherty had the biggest line. I mean,
for sure.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm not surprised. I mean, she obviously doesn't do a lot of shows, and everybody knows that she's not well. So
yeah, Triumph the Insult Comic Dog was there, and the guy would talk to you with the dog, and then sign it with a pen in the dog's mouth. But that guy is a pretty famous. I mean, a pretty established writer and stuff. He's not this isn't his only thing. Robert Smigel.
That's Smigel, right?
Yeah, he does a lot of
Smigel.
stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for him to be here signing things for $60, but some guy's like, "Can I shake your hand?" And he sticks his hand out, and he's like, "No, he wanted to shake the dog's hand."
The dog's hand.
But if it wasn't $60, I mean, I think it'd be an interesting interaction. But
I would love for him to record the "What's in the Box" thing for us, but
I don't know if you could do he'll do a video with you on your camera for $100. So I don't know. I'm not paying him $100.
Yeah.
We went to the Trinity Brewer House, free plug, which we go to every year.
And they renamed most of their beers for us.
Yeah. There's C3PO and they're naming different beers to different nerdy things.
Oh, I got to talk to my good friend Greg Nicotero.
There you go. So tell us about that.
I knew. That's right. I read he was going to be there. Okay.
Yeah, he was there, and I went by a couple of times and waited till no one was in his signing line, so I wouldn't interrupt him making money. And
let me stop you there, and I'm glad you talked to him, but there were 30 people online off to the side, and I told you that.
No. That was the guy next door.
It was not.
I asked
the woman, really, because the woman came up and said, "Everyone's here for Greg Nicotero, right?" And they said yes.
Right by.
But that's fine. You got to do what you got to do.
I met Greg at Wonderfest, the model convention we talked to all the time, because that's his favorite convention. I said, I'm the Logan's Run guy. He remembered me because he had outbid me for the working flame gun 3 Logan's Run auctions ago. And then we talked about the Greg Jean auction, and he had won the hero follower at the Greg Jean auction.
Okay.
He was bidding against me.
Yeah.
But anyway.
And so I'm talking about the Greg Jean auction and who won what and who 7101 was, and then Dave walks up and taps me on the shoulder like, "Oh, this is it. They're coming to get me." And he slides the flyer in for the
because you wanted a card. I thought you were going to.
I had a card in my pocket. I
just
wasn't ready
maybe,
to pull it out yet.
I know. Well, you didn't have to hand it to him. I'm sorry. I did distract you, but I didn't know.
So I said, "Yeah, Greg, we're doing this podcast, doing number 500. We'd love to talk to you, but not about Walking Dead. We want to talk to you about Lost in Space and Logan's Run." He's like, "Oh, I'd love to talk about that." He says, "Yeah, I have the full size Logan or the full size Lost in Space pod." Like, "Oh, I didn't know that." And he has a Spindrift, and he has the glass elevator from Towering Inferno.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's like, "I love all that Owen Allen stuff. I'd love to talk about that."
That's awesome.
So it's
he
like,
has the full size space pod, not a replica. The
full size model. The
model.
But
the model was big.
It's like quarter scale. It's huge. Yeah.
Cool.
And I also happen to know he's got a full Jupiter 2 cockpit in his office.
That's awesome.
So yeah, he loves all that stuff, and hopefully
maybe we'll talk
got him
to him.
excited. And if he's got time tomorrow night, he'll come see us. That would be great.
That'd be good.
That was the first
ABS,
day.
baby, always be selling.
Always be selling.
ABC.
Yeah.
Brian knows a guy.
Brian always knows a guy. Well, it sounds like you guys had a good first night. It sounds like a typical Friday night at Rhode Island Comic Con. Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. And
Well,
then-
I truly appreciate you guys getting me those autographs. And Todd, remember what I said. If the line for Evangeline's long, do not wait on it. I'm not asking you to spend 2 hours.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So that's the night. We'll report after day 2.
Awesome.
Okay, everybody. Saturday night at the Omni. As usual, we are here. I'm sitting with
I'm Brian Mix.
Todd Pleasant.
Derryl DePriest.
Darryl DePriest. He wasn't here last night, but he's here now. So we're sitting in the Omni. It's about 10:30-ish. So they have this after party in the Omni, but everyone lines up in the lobby, like where we sit, and it's really freaking annoying.
We're here with the pre-party people.
Yeah, so they're all sort of talking and gathering, and we commandeered our couch as there were like
Yes.
7
Just to
different
be
people
clear,
sitting
these are
on.
people who are authorized to be here doing exactly what they're doing.
Todd's a scaredy
Okay.
cat. He's a scaredy cat.
But whereas we're not. So hey,
The hotel detectives have walked by numerous times and not said anything to us.
Yeah, they're used to us.
I
by
don't
now.
know. Lorraine has been kind of working her taser. I don't know. She rested her hand on it for a little bit there. I'm a little worried personally.
For the most part of 10 years we've been here, they know us. They know.
Yeah, they do know
They know
us.
the regular
Yeah.
Joes.
So it's all good. So we'll if we get stopped suddenly, you'll know why. But so far, it hasn't happened. You hear yelling in the background. That's
Exactly.
the party.
Yep.
But so we had a Saturday. We're actually gonna virtually bring Barry in again. Hopefully, there'll be some ability for him to hear us because we've got this new setup with. Let me count them. 7 million wires.
Yeah.
We've normally had 3 million wires
It's a little
to do
insane.
this setup.
It is a little
and we
insane.
should check our Instagram. Someone take a picture of this mess, and we'll put it on our Instagram. But it's a mess. No, not you.
Yeah.
But so yeah, we're here. You know, there's been a number of people. Whether we talk to people or not, we're here to have. That's not anybody. Whether we see people or not, but we'll do our thing. We'll recap the day. We'll talk to Barry. He's waiting to go on a cruise. God bless him, the poor guy. What's going on? Good.
Going well.
Two-fisted. You want to be on a podcast?
Say hello.
Say hello. Hello, Spencer Wilding. What's going on? You've been here a number of times.
Yeah, several times. It's great.
Do you like Rhode Island Comic Con?
I love Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Great Comic Con, great people, great families, great kids.
It is, right?
Always positivity. I just want to come back.
We've been doing a podcast and becoming as guests of this con for 10 years, and it's
Wow,
one of our
look at
favorite
that.
ones.
Oh, wow.
We love it.
Cool, man.
You do
You
a
having
lot.
fun?
You do a lot of shows.
All over the world, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? It doesn't have to be
And
this
you know
one.
what? I loved doing the small ones, I loved doing the big ones. I haven't got a favourite.
Yeah.
They're all just new families, man. I love
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
It's great. And everybody just shows me love, so you're giving it back.
That's awesome.
Do you know what I mean?
That's
It's awesome, isn't it?
I know we. I know we. Our buddy. You see him over there? He's right here on the phone.
Hey.
He
Hey,
could
man.
not be here this year. He's going on a cruise with his parents. He came. I think the last year he got your autograph on one of his Star Wars posters. He's a big Star Wars fan.
Are you good? You're right.
So
I like Lucasfilm, man, of course.
there you go.
There you go. Legendary, mate. Legendary.
It's awesome. So, but what do
I
you?
love your hat. It looks like a light with a fan on it.
Yeah, there
It
you
looks
go.
really cool.
What are you up to these days? What's going on?
At the moment, just the latest film that's ready to come out, Toxic Avengers. We're looking forward to that.
Oh, awesome!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I worked with Trauma on the original when I used to be in the film business.
1980s.
Yeah. And
we're very, very excited for this film.
is Lloyd Kaufman still in?
Yeah,
in
he's
the
involved.
Mix?
Yeah, they're involved.
He's fun, but he's nuts.
Well, yeah, we need a lot of that, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's all. And we don't want to keep you from your people.
Yeah.
but
Listen, I'm going to get going, but absolutely pleasure to.
Yeah, thanks for sitting
jump
down
on.
with us.
to recap the day, since you're here, we want to recap it with you because we spent fucking 6
Oh, we
hours
couldn't talk about evangelism,
online
really, yeah.
for another one of your bullshit things. But
Did you really?
No,
No, it
I'm
wasn't
kidding.
that bad.
No, it was just an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But we waited.
sorry.
No. It was all good. Evangeline was in the Amica Center, so
The sports arena, yeah.
the sports arena.
Yep.
She was in a photo op, so we got down there and waited for her to come. And, it gave us a chance to check out the scene, who was there, what was not. I got to tell you, I know when we were in New York, she was a little not super energetic. She was she talked to everyone. She was smiling and laughing.
Very engaging. Very nice.
Super engaging to everybody.
I'm glad, because the picture you sent me, it looked like she was angry and pointing at Todd.
No, she was great, because what was she saying to you?
I think she was talking about the book.
No. She thought she recognized you because there was another Indiana
Oh,
Jones
yeah.
in the
She
panel.
confused me with another inferior Indiana Jones. But, yeah. No, she had said, I saw you at the panel this morning. I said, actually, there's quite a few of us here. We're very well represented. But, yeah. So,
it was just funny because that picture, it looks like she's angry.
Yeah, no.
I have about 6 pictures.
Yep.
So, her signing the thing, and she's smiling. She did say, "Who's this douchebag with this Post-it note?"
Again.
What's with the explicit instructions? And
I did say, "Hey, I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of very specific instructions." She says, "No, I go to Comic Cons. That's the way it should be. I want to do it perfectly.
Yep.
I know everybody, really cares." So she signed her name, and then she signed WASP underneath it.
Yep.
So
it was cool.
That's awesome.
It's very nice. It's
So
very
she was
nice.
great because I'm not that I had a bad taste in my mouth from the last time, but she didn't seem like she was super into being at New York Comic Con when we saw her, right?
All right, so I have to ask Todd a very important question. How'd she smell?
She smelled wonderful, actually. I will say I got up close, and it was a very satisfying experience.
Good. I'm glad I was able to provide that experience for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it came at a cost. Dave told me it was going to cost. Dave initially told me it was going to cost $15 more than we'd prepared for.
No, that's what Barry said. $80. She charged more for a prop or
an item,
thing.
yeah.
It was fine. Anyways, it was what it was. But she was very nice, very gracious. She took a lot of time with everyone, and she seemed the last time we saw her in New York, it was a very different kind of scenario, and she was very into it and was good.
Yeah,
it was fun.
It was,
and we got the last. It was the last box to check on the Barry list, so it was good.
And it was she was very nice and talked to everyone, but of course that makes for a slow line, so slow that Dave and
Todd.
Dave and Todd, thank you. Dave and Todd were able to bail out of the line, get Anson Mount, and get back in the line.
Yeah, we hung out with Anson Mount for a while and came back, and the line hadn't really moved yet. So it was good.
Yeah.
Well, that all sounds good. So give me the rest of the recap.
So while we were waiting for Evangeline, we went to saw Anson Mount, who was actually in the Fleming's restaurant right here. For all your steak dinner needs, Fleming's in Providence, part of the Omni Providence. Stop by. The hours are 9 a.m. to 12 midnight. No, I don't know. Not sponsored. He was great. He was talkative. He was where we're from. He told us he lives in Connecticut. He's moving to Nashville. No one asked him.
What did he sign on yours? Is Star Trek is a promise? Is that what he signed on yours?
No, mine we said Starfleet is a promise.
Starfleet
is that a
is
thing?
a promise.
That was a
quote. So, but he was nice. Took his time, talked to people. Right?
Yeah.
Then what else did we do? Then we sort of walked. Go ahead.
So another question for you: did you get to the bottom of whether they were going to have pictures from their current?
And they did. Everybody had current stuff.
No. Interestingly enough.
Oh, yeah, this is
when we got to Evangeline, there were a ton of pictures, and it said, photographs provided courtesy of Rhode Island Comic Con.
Yes.
So there were WASP.
Everybody had that sign, though.
Yeah.
So they, instead of the people bringing them, that
was the way around
the
that.
Convention
So that's the workaround.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and same thing. Anson Mount had current Star Trek stuff, and also Hell on Wheels stuff, and other things like that, and just some headshots. But he also had a handwritten note saying that they were provided by the Comic Con. So that's obviously and it's good. I mean, if you come, you pay your money, you want to have the stuff that you associate with these people, and so that was fine.
Yeah. Anson had a bunch of current stuff. So smart. Again, we've always praised Rhode Island Comic Con for shifting gears when they needed to,
figuring out what they need to do to make it work.
Yeah. So we did this morning. The line was around the block to get in.
Yeah.
It was
year 2.
Check this for next time, listeners. Todd said, let's go in through the garage, the parking garage, and walk in through that exit at the bridge that walks in, and because that's not where they were checking wristbands.
And
So
we walked right in.
Walked right in.
So it was
All
on
right,
par
good.
with the year. We just walked right into New York. It was like literally, same kind of thing. So it worked out really, really well.
What else did we do? We sort of walked around the Amica Center. Nothing much there. It's always depressing as it always is. That sort of dimly lit rotunda. You know.
The B and C level dealers that are over there.
Yeah.
I got to say, in general, there wasn't a lot.
It's kind of dealer
Wasn't a lot to
purgatory
buy here.
Yeah. And then we walked the main floor. You know, there's more fudge than there normally is.
It was a lot of fudge.
There's
It was a lot of fudge. I will say that on the autograph floor in the arena, there's now TVs over each of the people, so that they would they had video playing. They had different stills playing, and also the status of the particular.
Yeah, instead of a banner, there's a TV screen that when the screen is black, the person
wasn't there.
Yeah. So that was good.
Again, they continue to innovate every year. They've got different stuff, and it's they just always do a good job.
Yeah. But the show floor, if you want fudge and foam weapons made out of foam,
there's
plenty of that.
a lot of
There's
that.
Plenty of that.
Yeah.
There was like two things with vintage toys. Really, just not much. Not much there.
And very plain art on very nice aluminum. Lots of metal sign posters.
A lot of metal.
A lot of metal.
A lot of metal. A lot of metal art. A lot of mediocre art that people have self-printed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know that. So, but that's not what we're here for. Again, I think the autograph situation was very smooth. Okay, Barbara Eden, we talked about her yesterday. She had the big genie bottle.
It was insane.
It was a huge line all day long, like for 8 hours. I mean, the woman's in her mid to late 80s, and she's cranking out autographs. So good for her.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Did you go back for the giant genie bottle photo op?
No, it wasn't her in it. You went in yourself for $20.
Oh, that's no fun.
Yeah. So you couldn't. Her line was probably a 2-hour line if you wanted to even see her, but it was crazy.
So the other crazy line, which we never quite figured out, was
your ex-wife,
Gina Gershon. Just amazing, just absolutely amazing.
And no one knew what movie that people were looking to get her autograph for.
But that line never ended. They were just there. There was people there the whole time.
Yeah, Famke Johnson was next to
Gina Gershon.
and Evangeline Lilly. Not a big line. I mean, she was charging a lot, as we said, $110.
Too much.
So too much. But she was pulling a Shatner when there was no one online. She left.
She would bug out.
Yeah.
So what is the action in the lobby like tonight?
Just about the usual.
But we've seen Anson Mount was here. Michael Rosenbaum was here. Tom Welling walked through. Who else?
Got some people in the bar we're looking to poach when the time comes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's still kind of chaotic in here, but
it is kind of chaotic in here. So, anybody buy anything? I bought a book. I bought a comic book. A graphic novel compilation.
Herofied. You bought a ton of stuff in Herofied.
I bought some more metal prints from Herofied. I got some of the smaller ships, so I'm going to kind of frame them. I'm going to put them around my Enterprise. He's always got great stuff. He added some more things this year.
And he's got his metal prints in like 4 sizes now. So smaller metal prints. We'll sponsor him. Herofied. Herofied.com. Check him out.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. He bought a boat thanks to Todd.
That's right. Every year
This stuff's always awesome.
Every year I dump some money at his table and I never mind. And I got to say he's when you order stuff he's real quick to ship and it's always terrific. So
yeah.
Yep.
Anthony Daniels. I walked into the room just to get a sense of what was going on. It was completely empty, and if I wanted to, I could have gone up and gotten something. But then, when no one was there, he closed out. But I mean, I had something. It would have been cool to get like an action figure signed, but he's still $120, which isn't bad. for him, I think.
That's reasonable for Anthony
Yeah,
Daniels.
reasonable.
I mean, when you think about what he's been in, and he's been in every single Star Wars movie, at least he has a reason to charge that much money.
Yeah.
No, I have not been able to pick out like a one costume this year that's really, every year there seems to be like one that's just recurrent. There's a lot of Lokis. There's like every flavor of Loki you can imagine.
It's really easy. You put horns on it.
It is, but that's what I'm saying. But there's also a bunch of different variations, and so we've seen like every possible variation of Loki. But I can't think of anybody else.
I was expecting a whole bunch of Wednesdays and only saw one.
You're right. I did see some.
Two. I saw two different ones.
Christina Ricci had a really long line, and there's a lot of fans of Old Wednesday and then the new show Wednesday. But some were a little more subtle than
like
others.
the Negan years or things like that, where just every third costume is the same.
You're right.
Not even like a lot of Deadpools this year.
No, a couple. I got to say, Todd got more comments about his indie costume than I've ever seen.
Yeah, I had 7 or 8 people have me stop and take pictures.
It was more than that.
So
it was more than that.
That's because there's a new generation of awareness for indie.
Oh, that may be true.
That's because I've aged into my costume now, is what it is.
Yeah.
It's like I no longer look like an old indie.
You're the 80-year-old indie.
That's what I'm saying. Yes. It's like, now it's like I'm approachable grandpa indie. Everyone wants to say hi. So
exactly. A couple people were like, "Oh, Mr. Jones." I'm like, "You call him Dr. Jones." I know we wanted to go back and get a couple autographs. I wanted LeVar Burton, who went to bed about an hour ago, walked by here. Todd wanted to get Ali Sheedy, but they were gone for the night. So I don't know. People are smoking weed outside. Like
there is a strong smell.
There's
coming in.
There's that dude. What's the dude's name who breaks the plates? Plate guy. What's going on, Michael Coogan? Right. Our friend Barry. Look, he's right there. He got a plate from you last year. There he is. Give him the mic.
Hey, what's up, man? Good to see you.
Say hi to Barry. He can hear you
This
through
is
the mic.
Doug, man.
That's a great Lucasfilm shirt, man.
Thank you.
He went to the archives.
You did not. You went to the archives.
I did.
Man, I'm wearing the Han Solo jacket from Force Awakens.
Oh, sweet.
Awesome.
Love it.
That's awesome. Thank you. These dishes are done. I could not remember that guy's name. He's right behind us still. It's awesome. It's like you're here. Except you can't hear us really well.
No.
Only smaller.
I'm having a hard time hearing, but
Sorry.
I'm enjoying it.
We're going to have to figure out another way to do this next time. Well, no, you're going to be here next time.
Yeah.
Yes, I will be here next time.
There he is, Anson Mount, everybody. This woman, he's running away from a woman. A woman was running after him.
He knows he has
and
to
she
move,
ran away. He ran away.
Move quickly or he'll be
really quickly.
swarmed.
That's awesome. That was funny. She literally sprinted after him.
That is not fair. They're chasing all of our guests away.
Yeah.
But hey, we did get Keith Coogan and Spencer Wilding, so
there you go.
It's a success.
Yes.
Success.
Yes.
And hey, guys, congratulations on the 500th episode.
500th episode, yes.
Woo-hoo!
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Derryl. Thank you.
Yes.
Way to go, fellas.
It's a lot of.
And how many years?
10
Has it been
and a half, right?
10 plus?
We did 10. When was 10th anniversary? This year? Yeah. Or was it 22?
Yeah, it was April. April
was
or
it
May.
April? It's a blur.
Yeah. 500 episodes.
So did you guys go out for Mexican food tonight?
We
we
established
it's our tradition.
Trinity Brew Club Friday night, Viva Mexico or whatever it's called Saturday night. Yeah.
Good.
Traditions
are important.
We had good pizza too for lunch. There's a coal-fired pizza place.
Yeah, found a
that
new
was
pizza
good.
place. Yep.
And we went to the breakfast place, that Nico Bella's.
Oh, that place is great.
Yeah, and all the Sons of Anarchy were in there. Yeah, they were there. That dude's a good dude. That was good breakfast. When in Providence, go to Nico Bella's on some street. Tell them the Regular Joe sent you. Oh, and speaking of that, a podcast can't be complete without our sponsor, Fanboy Collectibles. There's a ton of stuff for pre-ordering. Did we talk about the Indiana Jones? We talked about them this week. There's Pops and Sideshow and Kotobukiya's, right?
Oh, Kotobukiya.
And Kotobukayas.
Yes.
And they're now carrying Hasbro product, too.
Hasbro products.
High-end Hasbro product.
Yeah.
I endorse that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Anson Mount, I believe that if they don't already have it, they will have the Captain Pike figure.
Oh, yes. That's up for pre-order. On Exo 6. Thanks, Barry. We're in a commercial, but let's mention another vendor.
No, I emailed Troy, and he said he'd get me one, so it's all good.
Anyway,
Okay.
so they got everything. They got all the stuff you need. 50 days to Christmas. As I'm recording this, not a lot of time. Get your gifts there. Give your gift list to people from there. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut.
Something for everybody.
Tell them the Regular Joe sent you. They're awesome. So that's it. I mean, that's a quick wrap up because we know you're getting ready to go. You got an early sailing or whatever the hell you're doing?
Yeah, we're leaving early in the morning tomorrow, but I'm glad I was able to be with you guys even virtually for a little bit. I really am very, very sad that I'm not there, but I'm glad you guys are doing it. I'm glad you guys are having a good time.
Barry, you have a great trip. We'll talk to you
Thank you.
soon. Glad you could be here virtually. Always a pleasure.
Okay.
No, thank you. I'm glad you guys are doing it. I'm glad that we're keeping the tradition going, even though I can't be there. And happy 500th episode.
500th.
Yes.
Exactly. Happy 500. All right.
Safe travels.
So Brian's approaching John Rhys Davies, who's in the lobby right now. As you know, of course, from Indiana Jones, Lord of the Rings, a ton of other stuff. He's going to try to get him to roll card with us. Thank you. It's an honor for us to talk to you for a couple minutes.
Very foolish of me.
Yeah, it probably is, but sorry, we appreciate it.
So,
And this is our 500th episode. We've done 500 for 10 years, and we've been coming to this show for 10 years. So it's an honor to have you here.
well, it is an honor to be at the 500th anniversary of something.
500th anniversry.
Very,
We've
very
done
good.
500.
Thank you.
Who's got the intelligent question?
Okay.
All right, you're on.
You're on, Todd. No. What was different about the experience of Dial of Destiny that...
I can't talk about it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm on side.
Oh, you're right.
I can't
You're
talk
right.
about it.
Okay.
What can we talk about? Now I don't have an
You've been in
intelligent-
a ton of different things.
Yes.
What work are you most proud
This
of?
is an intelligent question, is it?
I'm doing my best.
All right, come on then.
Okay. So, what project have you worked on in your very long career, very distinguished career, that you're most proud of?
Is the most what?
Most proud of?
The next one.
The
The next one.
Yeah, go on.
Very good.
All right, let me try another intelligent question for you then. You put on many different costumes and makeups, and which one was the most uncomfortable for you to wear? Did you ever
Evidently Lord of the Rings, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Right. Next question.
I have to have an intelligent question. What do you do for fun in your spare time?
That's my business. No, that's a fair question. I'll tell you. I read a lot. I try to write. I love mechanical things.
Oh,
I
so do we. We build stuff. What do you what do you love?
Well, I've got so many damn project cars around the world.
No kidding.
Yeah.
He built a Jaguar.
I do English cars, Jaguar E-Type. I just finished it about a year ago.
Yeah, my best E-Type, I put in to have Webers fitted rather than SUs.
Oh, really?
Yep.
In a little garage in New Zealand, and my garage man phoned up and he said, "John, until we get the muffs for these damn things, it's not fit to drive, so hang on to it." And then a few days later he said, "Look, there's a Japanese commercials team that would like to use your car just in the background. No one will drive it." And I said, "Oh, go on then, let them use it." Of course, after the shoot, the director gone in there and drove it, and it caught fire.
Oh my God!
And they denied all responsibility and said, "Well, we had permission to do it," and all that crap. Anyway,
that's awful. Okay, well, how about a better story? What car are you restoring now that you enjoy restoring?
I had 13 TRs.
Oh yeah.
We were just talking about TR7s.
We were just talking about
No,
lunch.
talking 2s and 3s.
2s and 3s.
2s and 3s. Oh, okay.
I did have a 6, and I did have a 7, actually an 8. But the TR was the one car that I actually knew. I mean, I really did.
And you can actually get your hands dirty on that car, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
well, not only get it dirty, for God's sake, I could actually tell you what year that little bit came from. Because the early 2s were all handmade. They were being modified all the time. Oh. And the other day I found myself in L.A. with a little bit of spare pocket money, and I found a partially rebuilt 61 TR3A with a perfectly rebuilt body. The engine seized and all that sort of thing, but the body was the best restored body I've
no
seen.
rust. That's what matters on it.
So I've taken it back to England, and it's just arrived, and I'm hoping when I'm there I'm going to be able to sort of try and sort it out.
Have they ever let you drive a car in a film?
Oh, yeah, I've done it.
Oh, yeah? What'd you drive?
Well, that one in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. That old
okay.
one.
You actually.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yes, of course. Actors always drive cars in films, but I do remember we did. My first experience of the electric car. We had 3 early Lexus, and it on a little movie, and at any one time 2 weren't working, and they would send a mechanic down who turned up in a suit and a little computer.
Yeah. My wife's got a Tesla. It's kind of it's finicky, but she likes it. Tesla. My wife has a Tesla electric car.
The Teslas are terrific.
But they've worked them out. You know, they've been building them.
Yes, indeed.
Because I say, if you're going to buy an electric car today, you get a Tesla. They know what they're doing. You know.
Well, our electrical car industry is going to be overwhelmed by Chinese imports. Probably. And, that becomes a strategic contention then, Literally, if you've got 200, 300, 400,000 electric cars with perhaps a back door in the software. Just imagine switching them off.
I know.
Right? And suddenly you've got a country that's completely paralyzed.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I know. It's a little scary.
It's absurd to think of these absurd scenarios, but we live in such a difficult and dangerous world at the moment.
Yeah, I know.
The best piece of this convention to me was talking to some of my of the people who come and talk to me at the desk.
Yeah.
There was a computer programmer today, and I asked him, what do you do? And he said, well, I'm a computer programmer. And I said, do you have anything to do with artificial intelligence? He said, a little bit, increasingly so. I said, is it really a threat?
Yeah.
And he said, no, it's not a threat. Well, no, not yet.
Yeah.
And I said, so when will we know if it is a threat? And he said, not before it's too late.
No, that's for sure.
And that is it. It is the slippery slope. And we're going to see convenience, we're going to see advancements, and we're going to get very slowly lulled into this world where we can't do anything for ourselves, and there's no going back.
Bringing that back around to acting, how would you feel after
Mike?
How would you feel many years from now when you've passed away if they could do an AI version of you to continue, so you could continue acting even though you're gone? Proceeds go to your family. How would you be okay with that?
I mean, that's at the core of what is propriety to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry, that is at the core to what is proprietary to an actor.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect that the safest things for actors is to have complete image, walking, movement, capture, which they themselves hold a patent on.
Yes.
And then they should be able to do what they like with it. Right at the moment, what we're fighting is a corporation that really knows darn well that within the next 10 years, it's going to be able to make facsimiles of people so thorough, so good, that we won't be able to tell the difference.
And that's wrong.
And they'll be able to do that for free.
Yeah.
Here's why I don't think so. Here's why I don't believe that's true. Because human beings, all of us, look at faces all day long, every day, every day, minute we're awake. We can read every little nuance in a person's face, and I don't think a computer is ever going to be able to reproduce that nuance.
But will audience know
you
the difference?
Are good at guessing at.
Audiences may not know.
No, people.
Yeah, I don't think
people
they'll
are
know.
expert at seeing people's faces.
I disagree, Brian.
That's why there's
I
the
agree
uncanny
100%
valley.
with your concern.
We gotta-
And I think it's now to the point, like, I disagreed with them colorizing films. Remember back in the 80s and 90s when they went back and they were colorizing films in the 30s and 40s? And I said, every time you change the color palette, you're changing the director's vision. Okay? I think a performance is a unique thing. And you may do 10 takes or 20 takes or one take, but that's what you deliver. And to be able to take those takes and put them together and try to recreate a perfect take is just wrong. It's not your craft. So,
But the problem is we can't even begin to imagine what AI will do with our images. Nick Bostrom, I think he's a Norwegian philosopher. You know Bostrom's paperclip thing, don't you? You know it?
I've heard of it. I'm not going to explain it, but yes.
Basically, if you asked a machine with real and comprehensive artificial intelligence, maximize the number of paper clips, it would look at all the things that could prevent it from maximizing paper clips and eliminate them. What if somebody turned me off? Who would do that? A human. Eliminate human beings.
Yeah.
We're here to...
Yeah.
You don't... It's such a lunatic thing to have to consider when we talk about people making these things, but we cannot anticipate...
what someone's going to do.
You know, we are human, and we can only see things in our own response. But your question is, and your point about imitation not being exact. Well, I think there are two things. I think you're assuming that an artificial entity could not be created or could self-create that could mimic in every detail. And the second thing is, of course, you're assuming that ordinary people watching these things have ever seen real films with real actors in it, aren't you?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
the point.
That's a good point.
If you haven't got any experience of it,
you don't know the difference.
You don't really know what it is But your contention would be that in real life we look at each other and we detect different moods and things.
Yeah.
Today's generation don't look at each other. They will actually
look at your phone. Yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You know, you've got people here trying to get your. We've taken more than enough of your time.
Oh, that's all right. Hello, this is Kelly Perkins, my once and future assistant.
Hello, Kelly.
Hello. I've never been on a podcast before.
You have.
Welcome.
Now you have.
Hi,
This
Kelly.
is our 500th episode, and probably our most special guest ever. I will say we've had some pretty distinguished people on the show, but
John Rhys Davies and so many of our favorite
and
series and movies and
my favorite film. So,
are we allowed to talk about the original Raiders of the Lost Ark? Is that okay to talk about?
I'm so terribly sorry that John has to be.
Let's not.
Let's talk about interesting things.
What else do you do mechanically? I'd love to hear about that.
I mill. I turn. I can.
Oh,
weld.
you mill. We were
No
just talking
kidding,
about milling.
really?
What do you have? A South Bend or?
I have a.
What's the one we were talking about the other day?
I've got an old universal dividing head, and I have even made a gear or two. But
no kidding.
I wouldn't actually sort of say they were properly case hardened and of the.
So, is your mill an old-fashioned hand-turned mill?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, none of the computer
yeah.
stuff, all by hand.
Oh, I'd love to do that.
Oh.
I've got a chum of mine in New Zealand who really, I mean, he's got 4 $2.4 million milling machines.
Like a 7-axis mill that can turn anything,
He does prototypes for John Deere. He's,
right.
I think he's on, bits of his are on the new Mars lander.
That's serious.
His bits for the America's Cup thing, I think, gave them 1.7 knots average advantage in the last two America's Cup races.
Did your mechanical interest develop? Is this something that predates your acting, or was this concurrent with?
My father was a mechanical engineer.
Okay, so I was wondering what the root
at
of
one
this
stage,
is.
and then he became a policeman. But as you can see, I dabble.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. He's showing us a missing part of his finger
Yeah.
for those listening in audio.
I mustn't do that. I'm chapel. We're not allowed any pleasure.
Yeah. So you got the bug early from your dad. And yeah. So
I absolutely refused to do anything mechanical when I was a boy with him, and then I got my first TR, and then
you
I
had to do it.
and then I had to do it, and and he taught me such a lot.
There's nothing more satisfying than making a part yourself.
Yes.
I made this part.
Yes, indeed.
And there's such a sense of completion. Like, I work in the office, and I'm in advertising, and it's frustrating, and no one cares, and you go home, and you cut a 2x4, and you feel like you've done something.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
I work in wood, and now plastics and laser cutting and stuff, but it's satisfying. There's nothing... making something is satisfying.
And people who work with their hands generally tend to be more sane than the rest of us,
Well, you don't know me that well, but...
and I'm building the ultimate Bentley.
Oh.
So
well.
What year Bentley?
Well, okay,
did you say
so
Bentley?
there's Bentleys and there's Bentleys. What year range are we talking?
I actually had a 34.
Okay.
But I foolishly sold that to buy an engagement ring.
We've all been there.
We've all been there.
Some of us more than others.
Yes.
I had a great friend, an actor called Mike Horse. I hope he's still alive. But the first time we met, we were just chatting, and I said to him, Mike, are you married? And he said, oh, John, every 4 or 5 years I meet a woman who doesn't like me, and I buy her a house.
Brilliant. Yes.
But anyway, the Bentley I bought for $7,000, and it was like $5,000, isn't it? Or something. It was a Series 1, a 56 Series 1 saloon, no engine. No instruments, and somebody tried to put a 350 Chev in it, and then run into the slight problem that those Bentley brakes, Rolls-Royce brakes, the hydraulic part works at really double the pressure of standard brakes, and you really need do a lot of head scratching for that. There's a great guy down in Prestigious, down in Florida, and he started turning some of those into convertibles. So it's now a 2-door convertible on a Series 1 chassis, and I wanted to put a proper V8 in it, and I was a bit slow on realizing that the real change in the Series 2 from the Series 1 is they couldn't put a V8 engine on the chassis
because
of the Series 1.
The rails are too close
because it
together.
was a straight 6.
Yep.
So anyway, I ended up finding a brand new custom-made chassis, nitrogen filled, which has got a wall thickness of twice the size of the one that came out of the factory, and I'm trying to put an LS3
Corvette
engine and box, a crate engine and box in it, and now I have to say I bought the Bentley for my 70th birthday. This car is not anywhere near being finished yet, and I'm approaching my 80th.
You don't go for easy projects, though, clearly.
That's true. But anyway, that's a brief summary of the... We won't talk about the 2 Jensens that caught fire.
They always catch on. They're so... I went to so many junkyards with burnt Jensen Healey's in them. I can't tell you. They're always on fire.
I'd had mine for... I'd had my Jensen first one since 1980, and 1979. No, about 1978, I think. And
so it had the slant 4 in it.
yeah, but these were convertibles.
Okay.
Thank God we have a resident car expert here.
And everyone said, "Have you had your fire yet?" And I said, "No, my car doesn't catch fire."
Yeah.
2 of them caught fire within about 8 months of each other.
Oh boy.
Anyway, it's on the way. But I played around with both of them. I put the I started putting in a Ford 4-liter one, that twin cam that Ford had around about 2000, but the technology advanced so quickly it was out of date before I could even get it in.
Yeah.
So I'm now going for the Coyote engine.
Oh yeah,
that'll move.
Yeah, and I put the Aston Martin brakes on just to beef it up, I'll be able to stop the damn thing a little bit.
Yeah.
And with one of them, I managed to graft on the XJS rear axle, the independent rear axle. But since neither are working at the moment, I can't tell you that. And I doubt. It's like the time I was in New Zealand and I saw an advert for a steam engine. I hired a truck. I had a trailer, drove to Queenstown, found it, bought it for $200, and I said to the farmer, "Where did it come from?" And he said, "Originally it was a subsidiary engine in an old steamboat. Then it was working in a chocolate factory in Cadbury, and that's when I bought it." And I said, "How long did you buy it?" And he said, "About 25 years ago." And I said, "What did you do with it?" And he said, "Well, I put it there, and every so often I come out and think, now what am I going to do with it?" "What are you going to do with it?" I said, "Well, I'm going to take it all the way to England, and I'm going to put it back in my workshop, and every so often I'm going to come out and look at it and wonder, what the hell am I going to do with it?"
Carrying on the tradition.
Yes.
What do you drive daily? What's your daily driver?
I'm a cheap son of a bitch. I've got I like the older the car, the better, really. But I bought a couple of BMW 530s a few years back.
Yeah.
I mean, I paid it. I don't know how you would put it in dollars. I spent $2,000 for the first one and $2,500 for the second one.
$530.
I've sort of let the first one sort of become the parts car now.
For the other one, yeah.
And the second one is still running, and it's got 160,000 on it. But that D5 engine is a terrific 6-cylinder. I've got a Land Rover that might need one of those as a spare engine sometime. There are a couple of Land Rovers, of course.
Like which one? I have a Land Rover. I have a new one, though. But
really?
Yeah. The new Defender, yeah.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, I would love the old one, but I don't have the garage space.
Well, you and I are both a little bit big to drive those little Series 1, Series 2, Series 3.
The new ones are nice. I mean, they're really...
Yeah, but they're for softies, aren't they, really?
It's interesting. I went and took it off-road with a Land Rover Corse. I have pictures that the front wheels are 3 feet off the ground. It could do everything it needs to do. I was very impressed because they're like...
In comfort, though.
Yeah, I know.
We're going to make you do stuff. We were at a 25-degree angle, and the guy's like, "You're not going to tip over until 30. So, we were taking us through this whole course. So it could do a lot. It's luxurious, but it can do a lot.
Coming back around to our original point, on the drive up here, the video screen failed.
All right.
The electronic video screen on his Land Rover failed. Went
Brand
black
new.
on the way up here. Yeah.
It's got its problems, but...
Electronics in cars, it's just...
Yeah, look, when we have the Carrington event, nothing electrical is going to work.
I know.
And that's when one of those old diesel tractors I've got in the thing
The steam
with
engine.
the stalking
You're going to go out to the steam engine.
You're
engine.
going to put that in something,
Damn
and
right.
then you're going to be in good shape.
Exactly.
Put that steam engine up to a generator, and you're golden.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've got plenty of wood. I could get a boiler and make it.
There you
boilers are
go.
better
It'll
these
be
days,
like
aren't they?
Mad Max, and we'll just have, or that Planet Earth movie. They had cars running on steam.
Steam, yes.
Wood-fired steam cars.
Yeah.
Some post-apocalyptic movie we like.
Well, you know.
So
it could yet happen.
It could happen.
It is.
No, not really.
Well, the cars that I had a number of old BMWs, 2002s mostly.
Oh yeah,
and those were really the last cars that I owned that I could take apart and I could put together. Put back together. That made sense.
Yeah.
And it was just and that's so gone now. And it's just and that's why, like I said, I listened to Brian talk about his cars and you, and I'm just so envy that. Because the times when you could diagnose a problem, repair it, put a Weber carburetor in, and have it run better than the original Solex, and that sort of thing. It's just, but people won't have that experience today. It's just something else. It's like buying a computer off the shelf when it's obsolete. You replace it without that kind of tactile experience of just putting it back into working order.
That's right. I had when I was at university, I was as poor as a church mouse, of course, but I had this old TR. The mechanical fuel pump failed.
Yeah.
And there I am stuck. But I got one of these newfangled things installed called a screen wiper, or a screen washer. And you pushed it like that.
Oh,
and of course, I had enough.
No.
I have enough tubing.
Yep.
And I would be able to jury rig the thing. And I drove the rest of the way.
Nice.
You turned it into a gas pump and,
Yeah.
and manually pumped the gas into the car.
Yeah.
And it got
amazing.
Home.
That's
it got back to
amazing.
university anyway. But
There you
those
go.
improvisations,
Exactly. Ingenuity. That's
was
what
such
we're-
fun. But
Yeah.
So how long did you pump the gas manually before you actually went and had the car repaired?
I think I had a spare one at home anyway.
okay.
Yeah, I always had spares with TRs.
In college, I had a starter motor go out of my Fiat, and I push-started that car for a year.
Really?
Before I got the starter motor repaired. Yeah, I would always park on a hill.
Yeah.
So I could bump start the car.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
But it's so damn valuable to be able to diagnose what's wrong and at least begin to fix it, even if you have to sort of say, because these diagnostic things these days are so inaccurate that they say, oh yeah, we'll put it in, we'll tell you what it is immediately, and they're not really mechanics anymore. They're fitters,
Parts
technicians,
parts replacers. All they do is pull out a part,
that's
put
right.
a part in.
And you put it in, and guess what? You paid $300 or something like that, and it hasn't solved the problem. Oh well, in that case, it's definitely put another $300 in or $1,000 in.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other cars, Volvo 940s and 960 Estates.
Yep.
Yes, you like Volvos.
I have a Volvo C30 Turbo.
Oh, wonderful.
The last year they made them, 2013, last two-door Volvo they ever made.
Ah.
Yeah.
I never had a two-door Volvo. I always liked the big...
the big Estates, yeah.
The big Estates, because you can put virtually anything in them. And,
they carry a lot.
And
so you've got a lot of cars and parts of cars. You have a warehouse or...
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an honest answer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You have to. I would love that.
Well, then there's the Gaz 69, the 1956 Czech Army staff car.
Oh, nice.
With the Moscovich engine. But, these things will come and go and come and go. All depending on them currently. Anyway, listen, well, that was a good 2 minutes.
That was a good 2
2
minutes.
minutes.
See, you get someone talking about something they're passionate about.
Once you get talking about something interesting. not
Exactly.
Bloody Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And all
we
that.
still like that, too. We like all the things.
Well,
Let me ask you this. You ever take stuff off the sets and keep it?
in my day, we didn't do that.
Yeah.
Back originally, you didn't do that. I mean, as Harrison once said, What the hell do I want all that junk around my house for?
Well, now you see.
Well,
Now,
An indie hat will sell for. Oh, look at that guy! Oh,
this is the sister of that famous dog. One leg lost. The advert went up. Lost. One-legged blind dog. Castrated. Answers to the name Lucky.
Oh, there's a cute dog here, the Chihuahua. That's cute. But these hats are selling for $500,000 now.
It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, have we wasted enough of your time? At the end of the day, when you answered 500 questions about what's it like to work on, which was better, Indiana Jones or Lord of the Rings? On a one-to-one basis, one's happy to do that. But when we're talking about real things, there are far more important things in the world.
It is very rare to have an opportunity to talk to somebody the way we just did about something. We have a lot of these kind of stock questions because this is what people are used to answering.
Yes.
This was tremendous. This is we learned a lot about you, and I'll have Brian explain some of it to us later. But this has been great. This was insight. Put it this way: this was not what I would have expected from this interview, and there's no more wonderful gift.
Well, that's wonderful. Now let me tell you a new fact that I learnt last week that none of you will know.
Okay.
Civilization exists because of fire. Fire exists because of oxygen. Or there are living creatures out there in the galaxy who have less than 18% oxygen in their atmosphere. They will not have fire, and they will not be able to forge and create a metal-based industry.
Interesting.
If we had 30% of oxygen in our atmosphere, any lightning storm would burn up anything available. It would just consume everything.
Yes. Yep.
We are very lucky to be living in that rough little zone of about 18.5, 21%, which is our oxygen thing.
Yeah.
And not too much more that would destroy it.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And what a unique world we live in.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much.
Awesome. We appreciate it.
Okay, joining us on the Regular Joe's podcast is Greg Nicotero, so many titles: director, producer, special effects wizard of The Walking Dead. Hello. But we're not going to talk about The Walking Dead tonight.
Okay.
No, everyone's talking about The Walking Dead.
John Rice Davies didn't want to talk about any Indiana Jones. We talked about building cars, so we're happy to talk about your passion.
This is the off-topic podcast. So
Logan's
we're gonna
Run,
go with it.
right?
Logan's Run.
Yeah,
We're going to
awesome.
start with Logan's Run.
Greg and I
we
met-
have so much stuff to talk about, though.
Greg and I met over Logan's Run because he outbid me on an actual working flame gun.
I know, he makes me feel bad every time he says that. He gives
Wait.
me that look.
The funny thing is, you have a working flame
I
gun.
have a working flame gun.
And so do I.
Okay, I don't.
Mine is a reproduction working flame gun, but
Who'd you get it from?
I forget it. The guy in Australia, I forget his name. It's been 15 years.
I have like 3 of them, and one of them works maybe. But look, I mean, the bottom line is, I was born in 1963. Logan's Run. People don't realize that it came out the year before Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah.
The year before special effects and visual effects.
We all saw it in the theaters.
I know.
I was also born in 63.
I actually went
I saw
to
the same age you did. So
excellent. I went to a movie theater, a drive-in, and recorded the audio.
I did the same thing.
Because the movie meant so much to me. I had the book, which I read the book, and I went, I don't understand. Like, what the book had nothing to do with the movie.
Yes.
Because it was the Clayton Johnson and the Nolan book.
Right.
But it spoke to me.
So, since you did the audio recording, are you aware of the audio recording of the unedited work print?
The unedited what?
Or the unedited work print.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The extended version, which unfortunately doesn't exist anymore, except in audio.
Well, here's the wild thing. So I was working on The Walking Dead, and Laurie Holden.
Yes.
Yeah. Lovely.
Yep.
Talked to me one day, and we were talking about movies, and she said, "Oh yeah, my dad directed Logan's Run.
What?
What?
Really?
Laurie Holden's dad was the director of Logan's Run.
That's awesome.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Does she have any flame guns?
No, unfortunately, she does not. But that was one of the big claim to fame for me. But she said, "Oh yeah." So Anderson was her dad.
So many of us are just the right narrow band of age. Logan's Run really was our Star Wars before Star Wars.
Before Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it's funny. A friend of ours who's the fifth host of this, who's just a couple years younger than him, younger than us. Everything is Star Wars to him. And Barry, we love you.
They missed it. They missed it.
But Forbidden Planet, Planet of the Apes, and Logan's Run. But he's like, but Star Wars, I'm not taking anything away from Star Wars, but
you can't.
We did a show a few weeks ago. And we talked about our nascent nerddom. The point at which we weren't just like content to watch something. We had to like build props. We had to like engage with it in some other way. And for all of us, it way predated Star Wars. Yeah. It was making your own phaser or something like that, and it's a different. It was just
I went to L.A. when I was in 1976. I went to L.A. for my first time. I went to Universal Studios, and they had the big like Land of the Giants hand, all that shit. And I went to Hollywood Book and Poster, or I don't remember if it was that or Larry Edmonds, and they had a Logan's Run follower in the fucking glass case for sale. So this would have been 76. Right after Logan's Run had come out, before Star Wars had come out.
Right.
And I remember seeing like, oh my God, that's like, I was a kid. I was 14 years old.
It was probably $150, which was all the money.
It was.
I
think it might have been exactly $150.
And now we come all the way around to the Greg Jean auction.
Yes.
Just a few weeks ago.
It was a little more than $150. Yes.
Yeah. You did finally get your Logan Run follower.
Look,
Greg, you won it in that auction?
I bought the follower.
I was bidding against you.
You were?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Well done.
Okay.
Well done.
It's okay.
Well done.
Well, look, Greg and I were friends for a long, long time.
Oh, yeah.
He worked at my studio on a lot of movies.
Oh, he did? Okay, cool.
And interestingly enough, when he would have his Christmas cards, those of us that know the Greg Jean Christmas cards, it was always a beautiful naked woman and a model.
Yep.
And there were a couple times when he would call me and he'd say, Greg, I'm out of models. I need like Silent Running, or do you have a Gort, or what do you have?
Oh, Gort.
And I would set up blacks at my studio, and he would send a naked woman over, and they would take pictures.
Oh, my God, that's awesome.
So Greg and I were friends for a long, long time. We did a movie called Surrogates that he came and built props for us at the studio. So for a long time, he would say to me, well, what do you love? And I'm like, well, look, I'm a big Lost in Space, Land of the Giants. And there was a time when I bought one of the Enterprise models from him, from the Trials and Tribulations.
Trials and Tribulations.
Yeah. And he said, well, don't write the check to me, write it to somebody else, and I'll just give you the casting. So I was like, I realized at one point I was perpetuating his collection because he would trade people stuff.
Yeah.
And he never had to pay any money because he would give me one thing and he would say, you pay that guy, and that guy was going to give me this prop that I want. And that guy's going to give me that prop that I want. And
we know someone like that.
Yeah.
No, but it was really fascinating because he just loved it, and he really wanted to have props from shows that inspired him.
So let's talk about your inspiration a little bit. You told me before the Irwin Allen shows really inspired you. That's where your love of the whole prop business came in.
Look, I mean, for me, it was Star Trek. It was Lost in Space, Land of the Giants. I mean, when Land of the Giants came out, I just desperately wanted a Spindrift to put in my backyard because I wanted to build the camp with the cat and the ladder and all that shit. And so I bought the Aurora model, and I remember like the Snake model, all that shit. I bought all that stuff. And then I realized later in life, recently, that people that were inspired by me, you could still like sort of find those props. And I never thought I would ever in a million years ever actually own any of the Irwin Allen stuff. But it started with Towering Inferno. I ended up buying one of the scenic elevators.
Oh, really?
Built a display. And it still has the 2 holes where the Jennifer Jones doll was standing, where the pegs for the feet would go in. Because for me, it was all special effects.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I love the miniatures and I love the models. And before Jaws, I wanted to be a miniature maker and model maker. And then Jaws came out, and I'm like, I want to build sharks. And then Dawn of the Dead came out, and I'm like, wait, I want to do makeup effects.
Yeah.
So it kind of went boom, boom, boom. So I'm really honored that in my collection I have the space pod from Lost in Space. I have the
That's
Spindrift
amazing.
from Land of the Giants.
Yeah.
And the space pod went up for auction, and nobody bought it.
Yeah.
And I went, wait a minute, I'll buy it.
How
And
long ago was that?
This was, what, like 6 years ago, maybe?
See, that's before it just
Yes.
everything went crazy
It was-
now.
it was
Everything-
still-
Well, it was before the Jupiter 2 went up. The Jupiter 2 went up for auction. I think Bryan Singer bought it
oh, really?
for about $120,000.
That's a
But
bargain.
it didn't have the original fusion core. And there's
Yep.
me going, well, I don't know. There's the fusion core and the lane. I know that stuff. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
do you want to buy it? And of course, now I was like, fuck, why didn't I buy
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Jupiter 2? But when the space pod didn't sell, I kind of went, it's not the Jupiter 2, but it's still Lost in Space.
It's
So-
it's like tall.
It's big. It's like
It's huge.
3 feet by 4 feet.
Yeah, I
Is
saw,
it really?
I saw it.
It's
at,
big.
At Profiles
Yeah.
in History.
Yeah. That was the one.
Yeah.
And of course, I went to Marta Kristen's house one night for drinks, and I was like, I have the space pod in my house. And
As
she was
one
like-
does.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, if I had $1 for every guy that told me that he had a space pod in his house.
So I know I saw you interviewed on some television show, and they whipped around your office, and there was the cockpit of the Jupiter 2 is in your office.
It's in my office. So there's a guy right now, unfortunately, I can't remember his name. It was like one of those Walking Dead seasons where we had wrapped the show, and I was like, kind of like, I want to build something in my office, and I found like a couple of the Burroughs recreations.
He makes those.
The 205. Yeah, I build those.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so eventually it will come to me, the guy who I connected with. But I reached out to him and said, holy shit, that's great. I want to buy. Can I buy one? And he said, oh, well, I have a whole cockpit assembly.
Is that the guy in Ohio? That's the guy you know.
Pat Burns.
Pat Burns,
super nice guy. And I said, look, I'd love to, I want to buy. And he said, well, I have the whole cockpit in my garage. I don't have anywhere to put it, and my wife doesn't know. So, are you interested? So I bought the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So in my office in Los Angeles is the entire.
So you sit at your desk and look at the bridge of the Jupiter 2.
I sit in my office, and I have one button that turns all the lights on.
Oh,
That's awesome.
So anybody that comes in my
fantastic.
office, they're like, your office is great. I'm like, oh, really? You think so? Watch this. And I go, and I turn it on. And, I went on set when they were shooting the Lost in Space Forever
Oh yeah.
with Kevin Burns. I went to set for that and went to visit. And I stood in the cockpit of the Jupiter 2. And I remember saying to the production guys, Steve Biscayno, there's a bunch of guys. And I said, what are you guys going to do with the set? They're like, we don't know. And I said, well, I would be interested in maybe buying it. Because I thought, in my shop at K&B, I'll just rebuild the
whole
set
thing. Yeah.
of the Jupiter 2. And it never happened. And now, of course, subsequently, I have the cockpit in my office.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Kind of great.
You like models. You obviously like sets. Like hand props, guns, laser
All
guns,
that stuff. Look, I
all
mean,
that stuff.
we all grew up. We're all in the same age where, you see a movie and you see like a gun prop or a set or a movie or whatever, and you just get inspired by it.
So
and
coming up, did you make any of this stuff yourself? Do you have a
I did.
wooden phaser?
I did. I bought a Logan's Run. I made a Logan's Run gun out of styrofoam cup and toilet paper holders and spray painted the whole thing And as soon as you spray painted the styrofoam, it all melted.
Exactly.
And I was so pissed because I'd spent so much time gluing everything together. I built a Galactica, I built X-Wings, I built all that stuff. But, that's the beauty of when we were younger, because there was no YouTube. Nobody told you how to find the photos and the reference. You built it from memory. You watched the movie,
right,
or you listened to the movie, and that's what you were inspired by.
Yeah, exactly.
We would take our 35mm cameras into the theater.
Yeah.
And shoot pictures of the frames.
This guy's
try to get
he's
that good
not.
shot.
I used to go to I would go to drive-ins.
It's easier to do
I would
it
go to
there.
the drive-in and record the movies on the drive-in and shoot photos. And there was a guy who still, I think, is still around, named Jeff Silliphant.
Oh,
it was a
yeah.
company called Still Things.
Yeah.
And when I was in high school, I would buy still frames from him.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved to L.A. in 1985, and I remember calling him and saying, hey, I want to come to your house and meet you, because I had been buying stills from you since I was like 11 years old. I drove to Sylmar, and he was there, and he had all these photos on his wall. And it was kind of cool because, to me, even though he was a guy that just sold stills, he wasn't even a fucking movie guy.
Yeah.
It didn't matter to me because he was like a unique connection to the stuff that I love. Because in his catalog, it would be like War of the Worlds, Martian War Machine, medium close-up, blows up the LA City Hall. So he described everything as if it was a frame in the movie.
Yeah, you go to Hollywood Book and Poster, there'd be a whole folder, thick folder. You name the movie. When I was building Robbie, I walked in there. First thing I did with HB&P, walked in and said, "Get your Forbidden Planet folder out."
Say that again?
I told, get your Forbidden Planet folder out. I want every Robbie the Robot picture you have.
Well, look, what's funny is, I did a movie called Looney Tunes Back in Action, and we had Robbie the Robot there.
Yes.
And Bill Malone loaned
yeah.
us the Robbie, but he said, the legs don't really work, so you have to build a new pair of legs. So Joe Dante called me and was like, we really want you guys to do this. So I went, hooked up with Bill Malone, got castings of all the stuff, and we rebuilt Robbie from the legs down, from the hips down. But we used the original Robbie suit from the hips up. And when you plug it in, it's like fucking high voltage, like you're going to get electrocuted.
Yeah.
And everybody will be like, be really careful when you plug it in. So we're on set, and it's Brendan Fraser and Jenna Elfman. And I'm off to the side with the original Robbie the Robot. And I told my guys, I'm like, you better fucking photograph all this shit, because if I get electrocuted, I don't give a shit what happens. I'm the guy suiting up Robbie the Robot. And we built all new legs and connected the whole thing. And I remember standing there one day thinking, this may as well be 1950 whatever, because I'm taking the same connectors and plugging the same connectors in to make Robbie the Robot work. And it was such a great... It was an amazing feeling.
Actor in the suit, or was he just standing?
No, it was an actor. He walked around.
He's got 9,000 volts dancing in front of his face.
I know.
But
nowadays, nobody thought about it. Yeah. Back then, they're like, yeah, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. But it was really great. And it was Joe Dante was directing. So nobody's going to say no to Joe because Joe was the guy.
What did you make the legs out of? Did you vacuum the legs? What did you make them out of? Did you vacuum form them?
We did them out of vacuum form. We made them the same way as the original ones.
Oh, wow.
And I have tons of pictures of like us rebuilding everything and the way that they worked and the feet and everything. And you plug it into the back of the ankle of the 1 foot.
Right, the 1 foot. Yeah, that's where the power goes.
And to me, it wasn't even about a job. It was like, this is Robbie the fucking Robot. And it was so cool. And I'm just grateful that I had that experience.
When you were on set for the Lost in Space Continues, was there a B9 on set at the time? There was.
They were all there. Bill Mumy was there. Jonathan Harris was there. And it was like a Sunday. They shot in Hollywood. And this guy, Steve Biscayno, invited me over because he had built part of the set. So I stood there and watched them filming for a long time. And I took a picture in front of the cockpit. But I watched a lot of it, and it was so strange to be transported into that moment, because that's what so many people do. You know, you go to Halloween Horror Nights. The reason the Halloween Horror Nights works is because you can be in The Exorcist house or Michael Myers house or American Werewolf. When you're standing in the house, it's not just you say, oh, I love it. You're experiencing it, and it takes you in that place. So when I stood I was standing in the Jupiter too. Like,
oh, you've got to go to Ticonderoga, New York.
I know.
And see the set.
Oh,
the Star Trek
amazing.
set.
It's just
there's another one in Jacksonville.
Yeah, but the one in Ticonderoga is complete.
It's life changing.
It's the
you're just standing there and you're just like, it's unbelievable.
I don't even know how I would react, because it's emotional. It's
it
emotional.
really is.
It's just very emotional.
And again, you're just in there and you're just like, this is like
they
my childhood dream.
They built the sets back in the day as a starship. All the hallways connected
I
to all
know,
the rooms. So
I
they
know.
rebuilt the exact same thing. So
And what's funny is that, like,
Enterprise.
for me as a kid, I didn't understand it. But then when you see the blueprints and you see the way the set was built, you go, oh, they built it because it's production friendly.
Yep.
Doesn't matter that you don't build it like it's a real ship. You build it because they can take that wall off or this wall
change
off.
the door names, and now it's this corridor.
I
and
know.
shoot from this angle and that.
I don't
it's
know
just,
how I would feel about it. It would be kind of weirdly emotional
It
in
is.
a good way.
You
It
gotta
was.
go.
We've been a couple times, right? It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
It
gotta
is
go.
very.
Yeah.
When Robbie went up for auction in Bonhams, I had to go and I had to sneak in and I had to grab his hand, and then and I just had to be there and see him. And then the next day he sold for $5 million. But it was amazing.
I'm friends with Bill Malone.
Yeah.
And so I went to see Robbie at Bill's house. And at one point, Bill had the car. He had the car in the backyard.
Yeah.
And he said, one day I want to restore this. And I said, well, bring it to K&B and maybe we can figure it out. But that was kind of cool because I got to see the real Robbie. And, Bob Burns has a bunch of the Krell walls and all that stuff. So I thought about
Have you thought about building a B9?
I have a B9.
You have a B9.
I built a B9 in 2004. Greg Jean gave me a casting of the torso.
Oh, okay.
And so I built, my B9 was built from pieces that Greg gave me. And then, of course, Icon started later, and they somehow got copies of all the castings that I had. And that's where their B9s came from.
Right.
But I built one might have been even before then. But Greg gave me the mold. I still have the molds for the arms.
Oh, really?
Stuff that he gave me. And he was like, I have the flying sub molds. I have the Enterprise molds from Next Gen that Greg gave me.
The 55-inch.
Yeah. And he was like, look, what Greg would do, Greg would pull 2 or 3 pieces out of the mold, and they would get rid of the molds.
Yeah, because he didn't want to store them.
Because he didn't want to store the molds.
Yeah.
But he would store the parts. So Greg would give me, I have the Spindrift from Land of the Giants that didn't have the lights in it, that is in the Quicksand episode, where they would run around and carry the Spindrift, and it didn't have the lights or the mechanisms in it. And it's all falling apart, but Greg had it, and he was like, you love Land of the Giants, you should have this. And gave it to me. So I have a bunch of original molds that Greg said, look, just make me 2 or 3 castings, and then you can have the molds. Because that was what he did.
Yeah.
You didn't happen to see a TV movie called Planet Earth and have any of those weapons, do you?
I don't recall, no.
Okay, because it's a John Saxon movie that we love, and we bought.
It was a Gene Roddenberry pilot, and
I don't remember that one. I mean, I remember the title, but I don't remember.
We
the
bought
movie.
the costumes in the auction. And we're trying to find the
we're
weapons.
trying to piece together the
Just thought I'd ask
the
in case you
accessories.
had them.
Yeah.
So
he had them.
No, but it was wild. I mean, Greg and I were friends for so long, and I'm honored to have pieces of my collection that he gave me.
Yeah.
And he would say, you should have this. I have a casting. I built up a flying sub, the big studio scale flying sub, and he made a casting and said, "Dude, this is." He gave me a War of the Worlds Martian War Machine. He was like, I have an Icarus.
Oh yeah,
because he molded it. He was not supposed.
Where is that? I mean, that was in one of the cards. I remember the naked girls with the Icarus. Where's that now?
Well, the story is that he got it from the production Bill Creeber, because Bill Creeber built one and Greg molded it, and then there was some little, I don't know if it was like some sort of speculation, but Greg had the molds for the ship from Planet of the Apes, so he made one for me. So I have one in my house.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And he was like, "Yeah, that was the thing about Greg, was Greg really appreciated and respected other collectors, because he knew that I wasn't trying to make money. I'm not going to turn around and sell anything. I had the same respect for the pedigree that he did, and that was why we were friends for a long time.
So what was your first gig where you got to make something? What was your first gig you got to make something that showed up in a film?
Oh, God. My first job was Day of the Dead.
Oh, wow.
And I did zombies, and of course, clearly I was ahead of the curve, because now everybody loves zombies. Yeah. But, that was my first real job in the business.
You get a chance to make a prop, or they pigeonholed you as a makeup guy?
Back then it was the makeups. I did props. There was a movie I did with Drew Barrymore called Doppelganger. Super random movie. But there was a transformation sequence, and I built a bunch of miniature sets, and I really loved the fact that I was like, my goal was to build stuff to trick the audience. Oh. And now I'm the showrunner on this show called Creep Show, and there's been several sequences where we would build scale down, like 1/3 scale models and puppets, and build it old school way. And
That's awesome.
How did you think of that? Why would you not think of that? That's what.
How would you not think of that?
That's what ingenious filmmakers do when they don't have computer effects or VFX to do it.
So now that you're a showrunner, do you get your hands dirty anymore, or not?
I get my hands dirty all the time.
Yeah?
Because I've been, look, in July of next year, it'll be 40 years that I've been in the business. So I know how to roll up my sleeves. I know how to get dirty. I know how to make stuff look great. And I like doing that. And if I tell the camera guy, put the camera there and put a light over here, that's what we do.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Greg.
Thanks, guys.
Well, it's been quite the night at the... I don't even know what time it is.
It's 1 in the morning.
It's almost 1 a.m. And it's been a while since we've been here, since 1 a.m. But obviously, as you've listened, we got some...
we got some
gold.
interviews.
We got gold here,
Yeah.
baby.
So,
John Rhys Davies sat down with us. I'll be honest, what you're hearing now, I don't know how much you're going to hear. He sat down with us for an hour.
Yeah.
We talked about all kinds of stuff. So we'll figure out what you've heard and maybe what you can hear in another annex episode or something. I don't know. And then Greg Nicotero, both of these thanks to Brian.
Yeah.
Brian
knows a guy.
Brian knows a guy. Brian dragged John Rhys Davies over here, asked him to talk to us for 2 minutes. We got him talking about something he's interested in.
He was
stayed
funny.
for an hour.
He thought he was gonna be he really thought it was gonna be 2 minutes. He was like, when he sat down, you could tell. It's like, ask me a smart question. Ask me a smart question.
Yeah,
and then he was gonna go.
Some guy came up to him and was like, "Can I have a selfie?" He's like, "No, I'm trying to go to bed, and I've got to talk to these guys." And then he sat and we found out what he's interested in, and he talked to us for an hour. So that was awesome.
That was great.
So,
That's awesome.
Really awesome. And then Brian, who had met Greg Nicotero before. And talked to him during the show to say, hey, we're doing the podcast, and he came by. It was awesome, just to talk about stuff he's into. I mean, it wasn't Walking Dead.
And again,
it was
in both cases. It was they weren't talking about their the thing that everybody else was talking to them about.
Once again, it was Logan's Run that brings people together.
It truly is. Yes.
All these years later.
So I'm very happy that we had. It would have been a great show amongst the 5 of us. Thank God we had Barry on. For our 500th episode, but made it a little special to have some of these really cool people who are into very cool stuff, despite their awesome jobs that entertain us. So, great.
And as we say every year, the Omni lobby never disappoints.
The Omni lobby in Providence, Rhode Island, never disappoints.
Yeah.
And no one has hassled us at all.
Nope.
People are throwing candy at us as we're sitting here. So, don't know what else to say. It's been awesome.
Guys, happy 500th episode.
Happy 500th episode.
It was a good one. It was a good one.
Yeah. So that's it. Signing off from the Omni Providence in Rhode Island in the, what year is it? 2023 Rhode Island Convention, Comic Con Convention. It's awesome. Doesn't disappoint. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
And thanks for listening.